Jason, did you hear that Discord is not a gaming thing anymore?
Yeah, they've been doing this for like 2 years. Where have you been?
I mean, I know they did this whole like your communities can be on Discord, whatever. It's great. But like, I didn't believe them. I was like, yeah, it's mostly just gamers and stuff. Like they're trying to make this happen. And it's that I don't think so.
I think it has. I think it's gone. It's come and gone, Chris. It's over. Like you missed it.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I definitely. I have found almost frustratingly so that communities across the internet are not building websites anymore. They're not building forums. There's no like landing page. There's like they don't exist on the web anymore. A lot of them only exist as Discord communities, and that is so frustrating to me because I think it kills discoverability. But like you go to subreddits or you go to just places where communities hang out, and you'd be like, oh man, I'm gonna I don't know, go to their website or like try to like join their community or whatever, and that means joining their Discord.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess maybe it doesn't bother me as much because I haven't tried to do it, or I've been pleased that like I already have a login for Discord and I don't have to deal with like making another account, and forums are kind of meh and like whatever. But I'm with you that like if those went away forever, if all forums disappeared, I would be a little sad because Discord is good as an ephemeral thing, but it's really not that great as like a historical thing.
Yeah, I mean the things that I guess they're kind of gaming related for me, but like the things that really kind of like stick out to me are like when a new game is coming out and there's like a development or a beta or something, you don't go and join the beta forums, right? You don't get invited to kind of the private forums or whatever. You join the beta Discord. What's another one? There's some TV shows out there that kind of have cult followings, right? And they used to be on the internet. You would find their forums, you would find their, whatever. Like now the only place to I don't know how you're supposed to discover them, but you discover them through other messaging boards like Reddit or something. And they all like that real time kind of like conversation is happening in Discord. And that just, oh man, I don't know how I feel about it. Again, mostly from a discoverability standpoint, I feel like if maybe I just haven't experienced it as much on like Discord's discoverability. I know that they're working on it. Like they're working on community pages and like lists of communities, and like you can register your community and all of that stuff. But I don't know. It's just not the same to me. I like it. I think it's good to have a Discord. I think that live chat and like that, like you said, like the real end times, I like it way better than Twitter. I like it better than like Reddit live posts. I think all of those, I think Discord is better than all of those other things. But I wish it was just a piece of the overall puzzle rather than the entire existence of a community.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I now have surveyed my Discord like server list, and I am guilty of exactly what you said. Not I am guilty. The places that I visit are guilty of doing what you said. In terms of, I'm actually like the member of a Discord that is exclusively a support site. So they're using like the Discord like forum thing, like the Discord. I forget what it's called, like boards or whatever. I don't know what it is, but discussions maybe or something where like you can make a little thread for like each topic, and then there's like 2 or 3 messages that go back and forth, and then like the next thing comes on, and like it's basically a support thing for like a piece of software, but that is made by some indie developer person. But it's also like, feature requests and all sorts of other stuff, and they're just doing them on Discord. Like I guess that's it. I'm in the Factorio Discord solely to get updates about the Factorio expansion, and I've gotten 0 updates about the Factorio expansion from that Discord. I should probably just leave it. So I guess it's hit and miss, the strategy of this. I feel like it... I don't like being in a Discord with 100,000 people. Like it's not useful for me. But
that doesn't bother me so much because I typically just leave like the announcement channels. But like here's an example. I guess it's gaming related, but it's like communities are like communities, not just gaming communities, they only kind of exist on Discord, right? Like I remember back in the day, if you were to join like a WoW guild, think about it like a WoW guild. Again, I know this is gaming, but it still kind of says the same point. But you would find their website, maybe register on their forums. You would join kind of their forums or whatever. And like their rules and their member list and their rating schedule and like all of the information about the guild would be on their website. And then they may have forums, right? And then over time they started to migrate where the information about their community were sticky posts on their forums, right? And that was kind of the next evolution where they were just like, screw it. We're not going to make a website. We're just going to put everything in forums, and then we're going to link to those posts within our forums. But what has progressed from there is now, or what progressed from there was like, hey, they still had a website, but like their website was just kind of directing you to their Discord. Maybe they still had some of the information on their website, and the Discord was kind of their communications kind of hub. And then what progressed from there was there are now Discords for entire communities where their rules, their schedule, their member list, their everything is like are channels within the Discord. Like that channel is like a website. And that's what just drives me nuts. Like that's not, in my mind, what Discord is meant for. Like it's not supposed to be like a static information website. And that kind of bothers me. And again, it ruins, I think, that searchability and discoverability for communities, because you can't kind of just like search Google for Discord servers. Now that would be cool, right? Like that would be a little bit of a change, but that's not what it's built for. And that's not what it's doing today. So I get it. I saw, I saw the changeover and Discord's for everyone and all your communities now. And again, I really like it. I think it's a better solution than the other ones out there, but I still wish communities would attempt a web presence.
I mean, I think it really comes down to websites cost some money and Discord doesn't. And like, if I'm going to put up a website, even if it's like a, pre-built Squarespace website, I still have to pay them to put that on the internet. Whereas Discord is like, oh, make free Discord servers. Like, it's fine. No big deal. Don't worry about where we get paid. Don't think about it. So I think that there's just like a barrier to entry thing and a friction thing. I mean, certainly there are entities that we're talking about that really should be big enough that they can have a website, and they probably should. But at least for medium to small size things, Discord is like a slam dunk because you don't have to pay for anything.
I get it. Discord's easy and it's free, so that's what people are going to gravitate towards.
We have a website.
We do. You know what? I never get to say it, so this is my opportunity. Did you know that we have a website, and everything that we have, including a link to our Discord, you can find at our website, which is podcast.com.
Welcome back to Pride and Accomplishment. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jason. This is episode 115.
Jason, we're a little late posting this episode this week. What's going on?
Yeah, I think we're good reason, though. We always tend to look to our role models in the podcasting world. And I said to you, Chris, this week, I said, hey, there's something kind of big going on in the video gaming world. Let's adjust our schedule so that we could get something out kind of within a timely manner, that doesn't really ruin our bi-weekly schedule. And I think we made the right call.
I agree. I think so too. I was a little bit, oh man, we're going to break the streak, but it's fine because this is better to talk about it now than it is to talk about it in 2 weeks. So I'm glad that we are here to talk about this subject that we haven't introduced yet.
Yesterday, as we're recording this, and maybe a day or two ago from when you're hearing this, the Game Awards 2023 happened, and it was an event that Geoff Keighley could be proud of, I think. I think he's really turned this into something, and we really wanted to make sure that we were talking about it in a timely fashion, because it really kind of is the like almost the event of the year now, right? With the E3 gone, and I know there's some other Geoff Keighley events that happen throughout the year, and those are kind of E3 replacements. But I don't know. This just kind of seems like, to me, maybe one of the at least one of, but if not the biggest video gaming event of the year.
I know I should probably already know this, but who is Geoff Keighley and why does he get to do this?
Basically because he's built this brand is what I've heard. I don't know what he did before. I don't know, but he's been he's been the host of the Game Awards since it started. And it's very interesting because it's his brand. It's like it's his thing. He kind of created this event and this idea, and it's not owned. I think that's kind of like the key point of all of it. It's not owned by a publisher or anything like that. It's Geoff Keighley's thing, like, and that's kind of kept it almost impartial. But also, I mean, he's been trying to do this for a long. He's been building this brand for a long time, and I don't know who he is, but I guess if you keep at something long enough and you turn the Game Awards, something from like live streamed on Twitch, sitting in a small studio, on a couch. I think, they played some clips around, what was it, No Man's Sky this year, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit, where they showed the first Game Awards, where or at least kind of like one of the first like real events that Geoff Keighley hosted 10 years ago, and it was him and the Hello Games guy just sitting on a couch like talking about stuff, and that's where the brand started. So I think it's really cool. I think it's again, I don't know where Geoff Keighley got to start. Maybe you have looked it up in the time that I've been ranting, but I really do think, regardless of how he started, he has grinded for a long time to make this something out of this brand.
Yeah, and I think that it comes from, I did look up his Wikipedia, which we'll put in the show notes. He used to be the executive producer for the like Spike Video Game Awards. I don't know if you remember, it's like Spike TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so apparently he was the EP for that like award show, and that ended in 2013, and then the Game Awards started in 2014. So I'm imagining that Spike, gave up or stopped or went under or whatever, and then he kind of wanted to still do a game award show, and he kept with it. So he at least had a little bit of experience with this stuff and some connections.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty evident in where he's gotten in 10 years, but I think I still think, to his credit, an amazing kind of feat that it has become what it has become in 10 years, not associated with kind of any other major publication or publisher or game developer or anything like that. That's been really cool. I mean, this is a great, I'm maybe too early, but like, think about it. He's just a guy that started this Game Awards, and we're going to talk about in a little bit, like, he had like, 15 world premieres at his event?
Yeah, and another like 50 games that were, making updates and announcements and things and commercials and whatever at the thing.
I mean, this is a huge deal. Like, people clearly, like, publishers and video game developers clearly respect this event. Like, it's not a it's Game Awards and we're going to go because we're going to get something. Like, that's not it. Like this is clearly a big deal to even people in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, they had the Peacock Theater in LA. I mean, this is as big as any E3 event that I think that they've done. They had all the game people were there. There was a guy in a suit of armor sitting in the audience. It was really just a full-on event.
Yeah. I did want to point out before we get too far that I don't know if they did this or if they've been doing this in the past, but they were really leaning into the TGA this year, and I felt it. Like, I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, yep, okay, well, that's like P&A and ATP and all these other brands that we are kind of just the three letter acronym's got some power behind it.
We call them TLAs in the biz.
Okay, all right.
All right. Well, we could talk all day about the production value and the gravitas of Geoff Keighley, but maybe we should talk about some of the content from the show and some of the things that happened. We've got a couple of things going on here. We've got a bunch of awards, which are really secondary to the event, and then we've got a whole bunch of world premieres and announcements. So we wanted to kind of take those, I think, in two different kind of parts and separately.
Isn't that so interesting that the awards are like backseat? I mean, they're called the Video Game Awards. Like, it's just so interesting. I mean, I feel the same way. I'm not saying that you're wrong. It's so interesting to me that we're just like, yeah, we should probably talk about the awards because they're the Video Game Awards, which I think they're important to a lot of the attendees and media. But like, it is really for us, like, no, I wouldn't call it a side note, but they're there's another topic that's equally, if not more important, in the actual game announcements and whatnot. So I just find that very interesting in an event called the Game Awards, that we're like, yeah, we have to talk about the awards, but we could easily skip over them.
Well, let's dive into a few of the awards so we can get those out of the way before we get into the games. First off, I wanted to talk about a couple of games that we've talked about on the show. One of them we talked about over the summer recently, which was Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 won the best sim or strategy game, which I thought was pretty cool. You don't really think of Pikmin as a sim or strategy game, but it really is. It's an RTS, right? It's straight up real-time strategy, and I really enjoyed playing it, and I was very glad to see it win here at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I don't remember what the other nominees were. They were all pretty good, but I was happy to see Pikmin 4 win here too. I have not played Pikmin 4. I've played other Pikmin games with you. It's a solid, fun, more casual, but still strategy game, still RTS. So that was good to see. One I did want to point out, just because I have talked about the game before. And I'm glad it won something. I'm glad it kind of got at least a couple minutes of limelight. Hi-Fi Rush won Best Audio Design, and I'm still playing through that game. I haven't beaten the whole thing yet, but I've played, I don't know, probably 5 to 6 hours of it, of what I assume to be a 10 to 15 hour campaign. Just a spectacular little game, It got shadow dropped kind of at the top of the year, I think. And it's just been this like little gem of like a music, rhythm story adventure game. And it's, I'm really glad that it got recognized for something. I mean, I think they said it on stage, right? They were like, thanks for like going along with this crazy little idea that we had and we built. And I feel that. I think it's really, kind of this like I don't want to call this like a secret smash hit, because I mean it got a lot of attention, but even still, like, it was not a hugely marketed game. It wasn't this like big production, but it wasn't really an indie either. And I'm glad that, particularly a music game, because I think we're starting to see in general, and I don't know that we're going to talk about too many of them, but in general, we are starting to see this kind of genre of music games take off a little bit more, whether it be like a musical game or like a rhythm game, or, I think we're starting to see that like area of things take off. And I'm glad that Hi-Fi Rush won something to kind of support that direction of a subgenre.
Yeah, I definitely had a fake out where I thought they were going to announce a new Rock Band game or Guitar Hero game during one of the trailers, and I was like, oh my gosh, is this new Rock Band? And it was very quickly revealed that it was not new Rock Band, but I had a little spark of hope for a minute there.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the question at this point. I mean, again, we'll talk about it when we get to the game section, but there's something happening around the rhythm game in the rhythm game world that I'm excited about. I'm going to try, and we'll talk about it when we get there. But on the topic of music and whatnot, I did also want to point out that I have not played it yet, and I don't think you have either. But Final Fantasy 16 won Best Score in Music, and is that just not another reason to get on it and play it here really soon? Because oh man, when they played the music, that when the game won, they kind of put the soundtrack on in the background, and I was like, oh man, it just deserves it. It's so good.
I actually thought that this one might go to Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It didn't, obviously, but I thought that there was a chance, because it's got that really good theme song, which isn't music scored throughout the game, but it is a good song, and maybe that's why they didn't win for Best Score in Music. But Final Fantasy 16, I think, is orchestrated throughout the entire game, like most Final Fantasy games are. So it makes sense that they won that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Zelda's theme song is very good. Tears of the Kingdom and all of the other ones. And I know that it's got other music involved in there, but like when I think of Zelda, it's not. I don't think of. Yeah, I guess that orchestra playing throughout the whole game, right? It's not like every scene, every cut scene, every, whatever. I mean, maybe it's not like that in Final Fantasy 16, but I think of Final Fantasy 16 that way. And I don't know. I think it's well placed. I think if the category had been like best theme song, I may have been convinced otherwise. Because they did play they did play all of the themes of all of the games for Game of the Year, which Tears of the Kingdom was nominated for. And during that section, I was like, okay, this theme's really good.
Yeah. Keeping on the theme of Final Fantasy, because that's what we're doing here. We're doing this little handoff. We did not plan this. But keeping on the theme of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the next, the second of 3 in the Final Fantasy VII trilogy, which is coming out in February. You can hear it in my voice, won the most anticipated game of the year, which I wholeheartedly agree with, because I think that is my next most looking forward to game is FF7 Rebirth.
Yeah, it seemed pretty clear, at least by the audience reaction and by the way it was announced, that it won handedly. I would say there were some other good and well anticipated games for next year, but I don't think this was close. There's one maybe that I don't agree with, and I wanted to point out a category where I was just like, huh, what's going on here? But Cyberpunk 2077 just had an expansion, right? It just got Phantom Liberty. And that's cool. I think, and it's come a long way on fixing bugs and really kind of getting to a place that's playable and fun. And they've released some kind of further updates and revamped a lot of things in the game, but it won best ongoing game. And I just don't think that fits. And I just kind of wanted to plant my flag and say, I just don't think, it was up against, listen, I don't think Destiny 2 should have won this either, but it was up against other live service games. And best ongoing game, do you get to give it credit for fixing the bugs that it had when it was released? Is that what you're going to do for ongoing game? Does that mean not even Skyrim? Does that mean Starfield is going to win next year because it came out in a kind of buggy state and they fixed everything and now it's an ongoing game? I don't agree with this. I think ongoing game needs to be given to some kind of live service game. I think there are good live service games out there. I think I don't know. Remember if it was nominated in this category or not, but Fortnite was there.
Yeah, it was in that category. Yeah, and Genshin.
Yeah, I think again, we're going to talk about Fortnite probably a little bit today, but it's a live service game, right? It's a game that's come out and that has adapted and is not a single player. It's not a story game. It's not ongoing because they're fixing bugs. It's ongoing because they keep adding more stuff to Fortnite.
I'll push back a little bit on and defend Cyberpunk a bit because. Yeah, they're fixing bugs, but they also came out with a whole new expansion, and they've got, more story content, and they're doing, reworking some things, and they're putting more effort into the game, and the, developers are still working on it. And I forget exactly when Cyberpunk 2077 came out, but it was around 2020-ish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been about 3 years.
Yeah, so that's a long time for a game, especially a single-player game, to continue getting content updates, not just bug fixy things or re-releases. So I don't know. I kind of give them a little bit of credit for sticking with it and still kind of being on it. But yeah, compared to what they were up against, so they were in a category with Apex Legends, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact, and then Cyberpunk 1. So I definitely could see that the others are more of an ongoing game than Cyberpunk. But I could also see where you want to kind of throw them a bone and be like, look, you guys are still, you're doing right by the gamers and the community, the people who bought your game, right? You're keeping it going and keeping it up and adding new things to it.
I guess I would love to have seen maybe something more along the lines of Cyberpunk win, or I think it was nominated for best community support or best that kind of thing, right? I think it fits more over there. Or you know what? I would love to see maybe a best expansion or DLC. Maybe I don't know how to define that too much, and maybe that could get a little weird. But best
best game rescue.
Yeah, or best comeback, right? Best video game comeback. So I think that is what I would preferred. I think best ongoing game is just not the right category for Cyberpunk. I agree with you. They deserve credit for what they've done, but I don't think ongoing game. When I think of ongoing game, I think of a really well done monetization model that drives a success of a live service game. That's what I think of. And I don't think Cyberpunk fits that bill.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that one. All right. We've got two here that are kind of big. And I wanted to announce the game first, and then we can talk about the several things that it won. And then we can talk about the other game and the several things that it won. So the first one is Alan Wake 2, which just came out a month or two ago. I didn't play Alan Wake 1. It's not really my kind of aesthetic, not really my kind of thing. It's a little too creepy for my preferences. But boy, it's got to be a really good game because it won a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it won. We'll go through what it won, and then maybe we'll talk about maybe what you and I feel on it. Is it won Best Narrative, which again I've heard great things about the story itself. Won Best Direction, which I don't fully understand, and then it won Best Art Direction, which I disagree with, but I get why. But here's the thing with Alan Wake 2 is I've heard it's excellent. I've heard it could be one of the best story games kind of ever made in terms of single player story, and payoff and goosebumps per hour kind of thing. I heard that it's up there. It could be one of the best ever. And that's really disappointing to me because I will never play Alan Wake 2.
I might. I mean, hearing that and hearing, everybody be so excited about it, there's a chance that I could maybe play it because I have a little more tolerance for scary than you do, but not much.
Yeah, I might watch someone else play. That might be what I have to do here so that I can close my eyes and look away when something scary happens. But I don't even think I'm going to do that. I can't do it, which is disappointing. But I'm not willing to suffer through things that I don't like to experience what I may like. But listen, I'm glad. The one thing that I'm happy to hear is that it was an excellent game that has not made it maybe as many sales as it deserves. I think I heard that its sales numbers were pretty low. So it's one of those one of those movies that's very artistic and that not a lot of people went and saw. So I guess I'm glad it won stuff here because, I've heard that it's excellent and that there were a lot of really, really good moments in this game and it hasn't sold. So maybe, hopefully, these awards, this kind of set of awards that have really shown what a great kind of narrative and kind of story it is from Best Narrative and Best Direction. Maybe it will drive kind of sales of this game, and as much as it pains me, maybe more in this genre will get supported, or an Alan Wake. I don't really know that an Alan Wake 3 is going to happen, but it deserves kind of the support from people buying it, from all the work that was put into it, and I'm happy to see it from that standpoint. Should we rattle off everything Baldur's Gate won?
I was going to say there's one game we haven't mentioned so far, and it's Baldur's Gate 3. We should probably rattle those off. The first one that they won was Best Performance for Neil Newborn, who plays Astarion. He came up and gave a really nice speech and talked about it, and he was kind of the first thing from Baldur's Gate. They also won Best Community Support, Best RPG. They won Player's Voice, which is essentially the Player's Choice Award, and Game of the Year. So Baldur's Gate 3 was really kind of a sweep on a lot of those things. And there was no mention of Zelda in Game of the Year, which was interesting. No,
I mean, it was nominated, but it didn't win. Baldur's Gate swept. And, I think you and I were kind of during the show, we were just really? Oh, okay. Geez. Because we have started Baldur's Gate, but we have not played it all the way through. And, so a lot of this, I think, came to us as a surprise to you and me, but clearly it wasn't a surprise to a lot of people, mostly in the audience, right? You could hear that it was not a surprise. And boy, oh boy, I've got to play this game now. I have to make time for it.
I mean, you already bought it, so at least that hurdle is over.
Yeah, that hurdle's done and over with. But geez, I didn't realize. I guess I didn't realize. People have been saying that this is a great game. The reviews for this game are nearly perfect. 10 out of 10s, 5 out of 5s, 100 out of 100s. I mean, they're so good, and apparently it's only getting better. They're still putting time into this. They're still I don't know if fixing the right word, but they're still like expanding on the ending, right? Like options that you can kind of lead yourself to, or like making it more emotional or making it more, like more realistic, whatever it is. Like they're still working on it. So it continues to get better. So maybe it's better that we haven't finished it yet. But with all of those things, like, oh man, I have to put the time into this game. I always say that I love a good story. And it's just, didn't it win best multiplayer too?
Oh, it might have. Did I miss that?
Yeah, I think it also won best multiplayer, and that was one of those ones where they didn't actually hand out a trophy, so they just kind of said
Oh, yeah, that was in the pre-show. So we didn't talk about the format, but like they did this 30-minute pre-show where they played like 3 trailers, but then also the host, she stood up there and just rattled off like, okay, here is the nominees and here's the winner, and like it was just rapid fire, and they would do like 4 awards at a time. That's where they did all the esports stuff, which I was tragically out of touch for, but that's fine. But yes, they did also win best multiplayer.
Yeah, so I have to make time for this game. I'm not surprised to see that it has won all of these things. I guess I was a little surprised in the moment on like really like the extent of how much it dominated everything else, because I mean I think it won. I'm counting 6 awards here, which is what, double any other game. It really did sweep. So that's impressive.
So that's all of the games that won awards, but what about all of the games that were announced?
What an incredible list of things that were it just kept. I mean, you barely had the time to process one before the next one had started, and that was. Oh man, it was incredible. Thankfully, I wasn't interested in every single game, and I do want to point out here that we are not going to talk about every single one. We have hand selected. Chris and I have hand selected just the ones we care about. So obviously, I would recommend going and watching a highlight or going and watching the whole thing. Right, watch it at 1.5 times speed or whatever, and slow it down when you want to watch something. But it was a great event. There were lots of things announced, and we would go, I don't know, 6 hours by the way we talk about stuff if we talked about every single one of them. So we have spared all of you and narrowed it down just a little bit.
Yeah, I did want to mention just a couple of things, and these are coming from the nominees for most anticipated. There was a couple things that were not there that I was surprised not to see some trailers of. One of those was Hades 2, which was surprise announced at the Game Awards last year. So I was kind of hoping for an update on that one. And the other one was Star Wars Outlaws, which got this amazing trailer at either E3 or last Game Awards, and they didn't mention at all except in the nominees for most anticipated.
Yeah, it got nothing. I was surprised not to see that one too.
So those are the things we didn't see, but we saw a whole bunch of other stuff.
I'm going to jump right in. Matthew McConaughey walked out on stage, and I was just like, what is going on? And he made this really dumb joke. Do you remember the dumb joke he made about instead of saying all right, he's going to say pew, pew, pew?
Yeah, that was really silly because he was like, I was going to say the thing I always say, but instead I was told that with this crowd I should say pew, 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 pew. It was really stupid.
Yeah, I don't know which writer wrote that for him, but it didn't land. It didn't land. But that's okay. He announced a brand new game that I had never heard of. I think it was a world premiere. But the reason I want to bring it up is it gave off some very familiar vibes. So he walked out on stage and said, "Hey, this is a new game. I'm really excited to announce. I'm voicing a character in a game called Exodus." And then they played a trailer for Exodus.
Yeah, and then he talked about it a little bit, and then they showed a trailer. I couldn't really find his voice. It wasn't obvious to me which character he was playing in that thing. But the game looks really cool.
And I think during the trailer, I said to you, ooh, this is giving off a lot of Mass Effect vibes. And then we came back from the trailer, and Geoff Keighley started talking, and he was like, that game gives off Mass Effect vibes. And I was like, yes! I don't remember anything else about this game. I just remember, hearing or just remember kind of that vibe, right? That single player kind of sci-fi kind of third person. I mean, I think I said it during the trailer. I was like, that's a Mass Effect walk right there. Kind of like, just kind of walking through and exploring and RPG kind of story element. We don't know very much. But I'm not going to go watch the trailer again because I think it's a long time until the game comes out. But I did get that vibe, and I'm excited to see kind of what comes of it.
I still haven't played the Mass Effect games, and I know I have them all. I know it's terrible, but I just haven't done it. But I got different vibes from other things when watching the trailer based on its content, not based on the Mass Effect vibes of it, which is the plot of it, or the premise of it is that you have two people that are separated, and one of them has time that's going fast and one of them has time that's going slow or normal for them. It's like, oh, a day for you is a year for them or whatever. And this gave me huge vibes of Lightyear, that movie that Pixar came out with that was like the standalone Buzz Lightyear movie, because it's kind of the same idea of like he's on a mission or something, and every time he comes back, it's been like 25 years, but it's only been like a day for him or an hour or whatever. So it's the same kind of thing, and it looks like a Pixar movie. Like the game, the rendering style, the art style was so cool, and it was so like consistent, and so I don't know. It looks really good, and it did look like a Pixar movie. So that was pretty cool. Like I really liked that. I think I will have to give this one a look. I don't know when it's coming out, and I hope I have time to play it when it does. But we'll have to see on that one.
I'm reading some of the news around this game, and I'm finding out that the developers of this game are ex-BioWare.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Developers. So that tracks. That tracks a little bit.
Okay, so the Mass Effect people made another game, and it looks like Mass Effect got it.
Yeah, yep. The next thing I want to talk about, you know what? I'm going to say it, Chris, and I'm interested in your opinion on this. I think the next thing that we're going to talk about is, in my opinion, maybe the most exciting announcement of this entire show, only because it was a really, really cool announcement. It was a total surprise, and it actually matters within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, they had a couple of those, and I think we're going to talk about another one a little later in terms of like things that matter within the next 2 weeks. There were a couple of things, but this one was definitely a big one. So you see like a chair sitting in water in a trailer, and you're just like, what is this? Oh, and first you had the Sony logo. So, you get this chair, it's in the water, you're looking at it, and you're like, what is this? Uncharted? Like, is this, could it be Horizon? Like, what's going on? I'm trying to think of like what's come out and what's coming next. And then I kind of just said, I was like, no, it's not God of War. And then the camera pans out and you see the side of Kratos' head, and you're like, oh, it's God of War. So yeah, they announced God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, which is a free DLC coming out December 13th, which is only a few days away, to do a roguelike expansion thing at the end of God of War Ragnarok, which I just finished like 3 weeks ago. So this is perfect timing.
Yeah, I was so surprised to see this. Not from they did it and I didn't think they were going to do anything, but just like they did it and it's done, it's out, it's coming out, right? And it's free. I think that was super solid. I loved that. I think God of War 1 or 5 or 4, not Ragnarok, whichever one came out, just a little bit ago, did this as well. I think in either an expansion or kind of for free, they added some kind of endless mode where you could go over and over again and spend more and more time. It was something like a maze or
like a labyrinth or something.
Yeah, there was something to do with like a labyrinth or something like that. So I'm not surprised to see something very similar in this regard. It looked fun. It looked really cool. It kind of this like endless mode where it gets harder and harder, and they called it like, a roguelike. So that's, I think there are probably power up elements to it and a roguelite element to it where you get better and better. So that's kind of cool. It kind of gives a little bit more life and a little bit more longevity to the game, particularly after you've finished it, and it was free. I mean, that's the best price.
And it has it's Kratos and Mimir, so it actually has story. You still have that like trademark 2-person kind of banter that God of War is is known for. So it's not just like, oh, here's a bunch of, roguelike stuff you can just bang your head against. It's like, here's some actual content, like story and stuff that they have recorded voice lines for and all that stuff. Like it's very cool. I'm very excited that they're doing this. I just hope I can find some time to play it. If you had to name the most memorable thing from the show, or maybe the like most overarching theme, what would you pick?
Oh, you've nailed that. The most overarching kind of theme throughout the whole show that just kept coming back over and over and over again is Fortnite is a thing. It's still a thing. It's going to be a thing. And it's also all of the things.
It is all of the things. My gosh. We saw so much Fortnite stuff in this event. Like there were, I want to say like 4 Fortnite trailers or something. And they've started this new tagline called Find It in Fortnite, which is like just genius marketing copy. Like, cause it's got the alliteration. So you're like, find it in Fortnite. And it just kind of like almost rhymes with itself, but not rhyming. You know what I mean? It's got that like cadence to it. It's great. Like good job marketing people. Find it in Fortnite. So should we talk about like all of the things that they showed? I don't think any of them were like new announcements, but they were all kind of like bigger looks at things they've hinted.
Well, I want to talk about, because we called this on this show. I don't know if you remember this, but I don't know if it was a couple episodes or even a year ago now. But during, I think the last like Unreal 5 kind of demo, we talked about some of the things they had showed off and just how cool it was. But we also talked about that Fortnite editor that started to really show on like this, we were like, hey, they're showing off this editor within Fortnite that you can just kind of plop down things and really get things going and build something within the Fortnite world, within the Fortnite engine really easily. And I believe we made the comment a long time ago that they're going after like the Roblox market, like they're going after it. Boy, did we were right. I don't think there was any question about it, but they have started to show their hand on what the heck they were doing. Because just a few days before the Game Awards, they started to drop these trailers or these hints or these, things where they were showing what these like new, what I will call premium kind of experiences of like additional game modes within Fortnite. And some of their crossovers and things like that. And we'll talk about them in a second, but like they really started to kind of show their hand, and then I don't know if this was planned to like kind of do ahead of time and then drop everything kind of at the Game Awards, but we got to the Game Awards and they were just like, oh yeah, Fortnite, it's barely a battle royale anymore.
Well, I mean, it is a battle royale. Like, I mean, there is still the battle royale mode, but yeah, they added all of this new stuff. Yeah,
but Fortnite Battle Royale is now a mode within Fortnite. Like, it's not... Fortnite is not synonymous... In my opinion, Fortnite is no longer, or they are trying to make it no longer synonymous with Battle Royale. They're trying to say Fortnite is Roblox. Battle Royale is something within Fortnite.
Back in my day, Fortnite was a like wave defense shooter alien builder thing, so I don't want to hear it.
No one remembers those days.
I was so excited for Fortnite Save the World, like, what became Save the World, which originally was just Fortnite. I was very excited for that, and I knew somebody that had bought the like founders pack or whatever, and he gifted me the second copy of Save the World that you got. And I've told the story on the show before, but like I still miss that part of Fortnite, and I kind of wish they would bring it back or do something with it. Maybe now that Fortnite is everything, they can find it in their hearts to bring back Save the World.
Anyway, so let's I don't think that's ever coming back. But maybe as a game mode within Fortnite, they can build Fortnite Save the World.
Exactly.
Anyway, they announced some pretty cool stuff. I will say during the show, I was just like, is Fortnite still installed? Because I needed to make sure that it was still installed and still updated. Because I think I remember 2 distinct game modes that were talked about. Maybe there was a third that I'm not remembering. But I'll talk about the one that I'm more excited about, and then maybe you'll talk about the one you're more excited about. The one that I want to talk about is Fortnite Rocket Racing. Now, you'll remember that Epic bought Psyonix, Rocket League, 2, 3, 4 years ago now. Who knows? I don't know. Rocket League's now on the Epic Store, and now they're just showing their might. They're combining their brands. They're saying Rocket League, Fortnite, there's no difference. And they've added a Rocket League themed racing game in, this Fortnite, find it in Fortnite thing. We've got to find something like, is it in Fortnite now? I guess so. So yeah, it's cool. It's like a kart racer, right? Think, the Hot Wheels or
Mario Kart,
Mario Kart or whatever. Like think those kinds of games, but it's Rocket League in Fortnite.
Yeah, that was wild to see. At first I was thinking it was Rocket League, but it's not the same game because it's, it doesn't have the goals and stuff. It's a racing game. So you actually like race against people, but it looked like you can definitely use some cars from Rocket League, but does it tie into your Rocket League inventory? Like, can it pull your cars from Rocket League to use as race cars?
That was unclear and the game is not out yet. So I don't know that we know.
Okay. Got it.
But the one that you're going to talk about, I do have an update on.
Well, hopefully I talked about the right thing. I guess I don't know, but I'm going to mention Lego Fortnite. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Good. They showed off Lego Fortnite, which is exactly what it sounds like, except without the Battle Royale. So this is like a survival crafting game, but like with the Lego aesthetic. And you play as minifigs, and there's it's basically Minecraft. Like it's
Minecraft. It's just Minecraft in Fortnite themed Lego.
Which is shocking
it's exactly what you want.
How did Fortnite get the rights to Lego to put into their Minecraft knockoff when Minecraft didn't get the rights to Lego? I don't understand.
I don't know. Minecraft dropped the ball there, but it looks so good. And there has been more news that has come out about it since it was announced. And I would just like to share a little bit of it because I'm actually kind of excited. I probably won't play it because I'm not a big Minecraft guy, but I'm sure I'll mess around with it a little bit, make sure I, whatever, try it out. But two things I have learned since, first, there's like over 1,000 different kinds of pieces.
Oh.
So like they put every Lego piece you can think of into this game.
And can you assemble them in any arrangement you want?
That's what I'm hearing, is that like you can assemble them as if they're Legos, right? Like the snap grid is the snap grid. Like they implemented the actual like physical snap grid. So whatever you can do in Lego, you can do in Fortnite Lego. Again, that's what I heard. That's what I, read. I have not been able to experience it myself, but that's incredible. That's just so cool.
Yeah, that's really neat. I guess, I've seen all of those crazy things that people have built in Minecraft, but like to see something in Lego that you could actually build with Legos is going to be more impressive, I've got to imagine.
I have a feeling, I mean, this is free, so that I don't know if we've mentioned, but all of these new game modes are free. Like you just, because Fortnite is free, you download Fortnite, which is essentially Roblox now, right? And you get all of these other things that are free. Obviously there's skins and stuff and microtransactions, but I think Lego's play here, I really do think Lego's play here is potentially microtransactions of buying Lego sets within this world, because it's Fortnite, right? Or it's Minecraft, right? It's you get a world, you build stuff in this world, and it's a survival crafting type kind of game. But imagine if you could pull in like, I don't know, one of the Lego sets that you have in your house into this game for a microtransaction of $4. Like people are gonna do it. People are gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And think about on the flip side, think about this. This would be cool. Think about if you build something in this game and you kind of save it as a blueprint, and then you can order it from Lego to get all of the pieces that are involved in building that sent to you, and then like build it in real, like, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be
That'd
really
be so
cool. Yeah. I worry there of like you'd build something so like, you'd build this really cool thing and you'd be like, okay, I want to buy it. And then it would be like $4,000 because Legos are expensive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I still think people are going to do it. Absolutely. Because Lego bricks are expensive. But who cares? Build a blueprint of it. How much is it going to cost? Oh, it's going to cost, $40 or $400 or whatever. People are going to buy that. I'm sure of it. Here's the other piece that's interesting news that I have heard since they announced it. They have taken 1,200 Fortnite skins that you get from Fortnite, right? Playing Fortnite, buying the skins, all of that. And 1,200 of them are becoming Lego minifigures.
And in the game.
In the Lego game. So
yes.
In the Lego game, you don't play as a Fortnite character. You play as a Lego minifigure because duh. And 1,200 of the existing Fortnite skins you can port over to be a minifigure.
That's cool.
So, I own, Mr. Meeseeks from Rick and Morty. I don't know. That may be one of those 1,200, may not be. I don't know yet. But like, I already own it, so I can play a minifigure of it. The other side of that, though, is they have done 1,200 of them so far. The news article said that they had scanned or are prepping 10,000 of them.
Oh, my goodness. That's a lot.
So, one, that goes to show how many skins there are in Fortnite, which I'm going to guess that there are close to 10,000 skins, with all of the variations and colors and blah, blah, blah. But 10,000, they have to map them onto the minifigure, right? They have to make them fit. But they've done 1,200 of them so far. That's
insane.
And it sounds like you're not going to have to rebuy them, which is cool. Like anything that you have in Fortnite that you've already purchased or that you've earned or that, from battle passes or whatever, you could potentially have as a minifigure, which I just think is so cool. That makes me think that they are, you asked the question earlier, are they going to bring your Rocket League stuff over into Rocket Racing? That makes me think that it is almost a for sure thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the third one? Do you remember the third one?
Fortnite Festival is the third one.
Oh, that's the rhythm game I hinted to earlier.
Oh, okay. We didn't see any gameplay from this.
It's basically a Guitar Hero.
Okay. They didn't show any gameplay of that. They just kind of showed it as a logo, and I didn't know really what it was. And you were really excited about it, and I didn't know why. So
if it's the right one, I'm pretty sure it is. I can't remember. Maybe SkillUp talked about it in his This Week in Gaming. Is it? Do you see any logo? I don't know if you could look it up while I'm talking, but I'm pretty sure this is the one that they made in collaboration with Harmonix, which is the Rock Band Guitar Hero.
Yeah, Rock
Band. One of those two. Yep, mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is you talked about Rock Band coming back. This is it. They did it in Fortnite. Find it in Fortnite, man.
This Fortnite Festival comes out on December 9th, which is tomorrow as we record. So we may have to give this a try.
Yeah, I don't know if it's multiplayer. That would be, probably, but man, it's just it's very exciting, very cool. The engine that they've built and what they're able to do. And this is apparently licensed music. It's like, of course, Fortnite's going to do the real stuff. Like, they get a license for everything else. Why not get a license for music? So cool. Is it the next Rock Band? Is the next Rock Band going to be in Fortnite? What a brand. What they have done something incredible from, I'll say from a legal perspective, right? Like they've just taken all of these brands, everything across. You can play as Darth Vader. You can play as Family Guy. You can play, all of these things. They're in one engine now. What an incredible feat of legal red tape. I have to imagine.
I found a list that I'll put in the show notes of the set list. That I don't know if it's, I think it's an official release. I don't know, but it's got things like The Weeknd and All American Rejects and Billie Eilish and the Cranberries, the Killers, like all the kinds of like rock bandy kinds of groups and things you would think of. So yeah, I'm excited about this.
I think that's it for Fortnite. I don't think that's the it for Fortnite. I think that's maybe it for Fortnite for 2023. And we have a couple, we're going to hear about more. They have built something incredible here that I think is just going to keep releasing kind of hit after hit. We don't know that the Lego thing is going to be a hit yet, but it's exciting for me. And I can't imagine, I have to imagine that a lot of people are going to give it a try. And I don't know if it's aimed at older kids or even younger adults. I don't know that I'm young anymore. But I tend to like the Lego world more than I would say the Minecraft world, just because I grew up with it. But just, it's just one of these huge they essentially announced 3 new games within Fortnite. within the last week, and I don't think they're anywhere close to done. I think we're going to hear about more in the first 6 months of 2024.
Well, we'll have to do a whole show about Fortnite here in the future once we've played all 97 modes of Fortnite. The next game that I wanted to talk about is one that has strong nostalgia vibes, but not because of any particular IP, more so because of the genre. The game is Stormgate, which is actually from the makers or like some ex-Blizzard people that worked on, I think, StarCraft and Warcraft. And this one had me pretty excited.
This one has been talked about for a while now, right? Like this has been kind of out and been announced. I think they may have talked about it at the Game Awards last year, or maybe announced it last year. I don't remember. But it's in summary, like I'll try to summarize. I'm sure you'll do a better job, but like it's essentially like attempting to be a very faithful creation or a very faithful recreation of a very balanced and well-made RTS. I mean, is it trying to be the next StarCraft?
I think it is. I mean, I think it's really for people who remember playing StarCraft in their youth and now are grown up and they want to play a game like that again in like a modern design. And I think that they've done that with Stormgate, or at least they're trying to do that with Stormgate. I remember, now that I'm on their website, I remember talking about this at some point in the past as well. And I'm still excited for it because I'm pretty sure I was excited for it then.
Yeah. What was the news here? I think they announced have you not been able to buy this game previously? Is that kind of the news here? Is that I think during the Game Awards, they were like, hey, it's on Kickstarter.
I don't know if that's the case or if they just said that it's coming in 2024, but it's coming in 2024. So I think that was the news.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And they talked about that a little bit. They didn't show a ton of gameplay or anything from it, but I went to the Kickstarter and looked at it, and they had like 1.1 million out of $100,000 raised, which is pretty cool. And I will say that I was tempted to, click the little button and like do the whatever pre-order on Kickstarter, but I resisted because of the 2-hour rule.
Yeah, you'll be able to buy it. The Kickstarter didn't seem too enticing, other than maybe some early access and beta access. Listen, the 2-hour rule is for buying games. I don't think it applies to supporting games. If you would like to support it, I think you've done it with what was the other one you did? It was a puzzle game. Firmament.
Firmament.
Yeah, right. And you supported. I didn't give you any crap about that. But like, it's already definitely funded. It doesn't need your help.
No, they're good. They're in good shape. I think they're fine. But it does have a campaign, 1v1, and 3-player co-op.
Yeah, I saw that. You have gotten me to get some of the StarCraft stuff because of the co-op, and we never really got into it. But I think you could convince me again. I do like a good RTS.
This one looks free to play, by the way, also. So no excuses. Really? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wonder if the campaign is going to be free to play, because they showed very, very short clips, but during the Game Awards, they did show some clips of what I would think are cutscenes of the campaign, because StarCraft's known for that, right? StarCraft 2 is like huge on their story and the cutscenes. So I would expect the same of this. And they looked very interesting. They looked very well done and compelling on a story front.
Yeah, it looks like the Kickstarter backing is for like the rewards are the chapters of the campaign.
I see. Okay.
So if you back at $60, you get chapters 1, 2, and 3, which I assume is all 3 of them. I don't know how many there are, but if you back for like $25, you only get the first one. So it seems like they're going to monetize by selling campaign chapters, which is, that's a way to go.
Yeah, I wonder if chapter 1 is a complete story arc.
Well, in the old days, right? StarCraft would do kind of 3 chapters for each of the 3 races. So maybe they're doing the same thing here.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'll be interested to watch this one. I probably won't get it right away. I think it sounds like you may get it a little sooner than I will. But if you were like, hey, come play this with me, I could be convinced of this one. This one, I always like a good RTS.
Speaking of games that we're going to convince each other to play, this next one.
Yeah, there's no convincing. This is a requirement.
Okay, fine.
So they started this trailer. They didn't intro it at all. They just started this trailer. And within the first 4 seconds, I got excited.
And I couldn't figure it out.
Chris was like, what is this? What is this? Is it this? Is it this? I can't remember all the guesses you made, but you just couldn't get there. And I was like, no, Chris, this is a trailer for Helldivers 2.
And I groaned.
I'm so excited. I still want to play Helldivers 1 more, and no one wants to play with me. They're really getting into some of the lore on Helldivers 2, on like, you know, recruiting and like why, like the world building of like, you know, joining the Helldivers and like, you know, doing it for your country. And it's very tongue in cheek and it's very funny, and I like it. At the same time, like, it's a third person shooter now. I don't know if it's cover based, but it's a third person shooter now instead of a top down kind of twin stick shooter. And I don't know if that's my preference, but I certainly still like a third person shooter. And it's just exciting to me. I don't know. I think it's going to be really fun. I'm hoping that it's along the lines of, you know, those third person co-op shooters like, you know, Left 4 Dead or things like that. But just maybe a little bit more tongue in cheek, a little bit more fun, a little bit more, maybe lighthearted, perhaps. I don't know. It's soon. It's February 8th. It's coming out, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it, and I'm going to play it. Maybe Chris, you don't have to get it right when it comes out, but this is going to be one of those like day one play over the weekend kind of things for me. And if it's good, I will be like, Chris, come, you got to come play this.
All right, I'll let you feel it out, and you can let me know. And then if it's good, or if it looks good or whatever, then I will give it a try. And then we will talk about it on the show, and I hope it's better than I expect.
One I will not expect you to play, but I am also very excited about, is we knew it was happening on the Warframe dev stream that they did a week or two ago. They mentioned that they'll be at the Game Awards. And I just wanted to point it out here that their next kind of major story expansion is coming out. What was it? December 13th. So next week or so. We knew this was going to happen. They announced that it was going to happen in 2024, but they were kind of saving the release date announcement for the Game Awards. I'm sure that's kind of what they agreed with Geoff Keighley, because Geoff Keighley always likes to have some, you know, never seen before information or world premiere or something. But the expansion had already kind of been announced, so Warframe saved the announcement of when it's coming out to the Game Awards. Here's the cool part about this is it is a pretty big story expansion. It opens up the world a little, like quite a bit into some of the lore that's happening on kind of the origins of Warframe, right? Because Warframe it takes place. It's like a space ninja kind of, you know, like spacey opera sci-fi thing that takes place in the future. But it's in our world, right? It is an alternate history of Earth in our world, and you know, like our history. And what this story expansion is doing is kind of setting up some of the plot for the actual origin story. So it's starting to get into some of the, like, how did this all happen? Where did these powers come from? Like, who kind of researched these? And you start to see stuff in this expansion that's coming out on December 13th, like a computer from the 1990s, right? With a CRT monitor and a keyboard that we would recognize, and like, you know, like DOS terminal kind of stuff. Like, they're starting to introduce some of this like stuff where we're like, oh, that's clearly from our history, right? Like, that's clearly our technological history. And so they're starting to introduce some of this, all in pursuit of, and this is where it matters to you, Chris, and I think you will actually kind of like this, is a story expansion next year that they have already announced and kind of given kind of first sneak peek of, is what they're calling Warframe 1999. And obviously that takes place in 1999, but it is kind of the split in history that defines the Warframe universe that happened in 1999, of like the start of some of the enemy types that we see in Warframe, on like they're in Warframe, they're the sentients, and they're like kind of an AI, organic based, machine race that the humans created to do stuff. Like, I'm simplifying drastically. Please, Warframe lore masters, don't at me. But anyway, there's this like, faction of enemies in Warframe that are sentient AI, organic machines, whatever. We potentially, maybe, I don't know, kind of see their beginnings in Warframe 99 from that trailer, but like their beginnings of this sentient organic race are like organic kind of limbs attached to CRT monitors. Right. So they're like, it's a really cool kind of like, oh man, like they took this wild bit of lore that came out 10 years ago, with this just crazy set of stuff. Like the stuff going on in Warframe is just bonkers. It's just so weird sometimes. And it's a very hard story to follow sometimes. And you're just like, what is happening right now? They take this crazy story that you're just like, I don't know where this came from. This is just absolutely freaking wild. And they're pulling it back to 1999 into a world that is attempting to start to explain the origins of this totally whack story that we have been living in with it for 10 years. So I'm just really excited about that. I think it starts to bring it down to a world that maybe like more people will get interested in, right? Because it's more relatable, maybe. All of that to say, I could talk about Warframe for hours, but they've announced this next story expansion, which sets up the story expansion for Warframe 1999. And it is going to be my attempt, Chris, to get you to play Warframe again when Warframe 1999 comes out. But if you are a Warframe player or have played in the past, this is, again, a good time to get back in.
Yeah, I don't have any interest in this Whispers in the Wall, the one that comes out next week. But as everything you've explained and everything you just explained about 1999, I am intrigued. I will give it a try.
We tried with Duviri, right? Like the story expansion that happened just this past couple of months. And will you agree that is just a whack story?
I enjoyed Duviri Paradox, just to be clear. Like I did like playing that like piece of that, but then I only did it once, and then the story was crazy, but like the gameplay, the little like power-ups and roguelike stuff, like that was kind of fun. I couldn't really tell you what happened, but like for run around and do some Warframey things for like a day, that was fine.
Yeah, but it's not relatable at all. You're just like, what is going on? Like this?
No. I don't care at all.
This
about
story
the story
is just wild. But if you were in a world where you're kind of like this spy type guy in a New York subway, and it's just a little bit more relatable. It's a little bit more grounded in like, okay, I'm a guy in a New York subway. I have some context to work around. What the heck is going on around me? I think that is a much more approachable start to a story.
Sure. Yes. Yes, it is. So, okay. Good.
Cool. We can move on. I could talk about it forever.
The next game that they showed, not the next game, but the next game that we're going to talk about is a game from the No Man's Sky people. So they brought out the guy from Hello Games, which is No Man's Sky, and they talked about how they announced No Man's Sky at the very first Game Awards, as Jason kind of mentioned earlier. And it was crazy to see like all of the expansions and things that have come since. Like they did this montage of like, here's all of the stuff that has happened in No Man's Sky since it released. And it was, I don't know, 40 expansions or something, or content updates. It was wild.
It was very cool. We talked about a category for best comeback. No Man's Sky would have won like 4 years in a row.
Yeah, they've done a ton of stuff with that game.
I remember them announcing this game and like showing this like high lofty, like we're going to do all this stuff, and everyone's so excited. And then it came out and it was just like, it didn't have any of that. And now 10 years later, it has all of it and like way, way, way more. So No Man's Sky, if you haven't played it, I've played a little bit of it. It's a great game. It is really a really good space survival crafting world to play in. So I do recommend that. And if you're interested in kind of like just a snapshot of the history, that trailer that Chris is talking about, where it goes back and shows all the expansions, really cool. Like, I mean, it was really cool to see. And if you've been following No Man's Sky at all, you'll recognize some of them, and then you just be like, I didn't realize. Like, I recognized some of these, and then I didn't realize that there were so many more. There's so many expansions, all of which have been free. And the thing that I wanted to say, note about No Man's Sky before we dig into kind of what they announced, I had heard, and I wish I could find a source on it. I'm going to try to go find a source, that No Man's Sky had its best year of sales this year, 2023. Isn't that crazy? Who doesn't own No Man's Sky by now? It's been free on Epic. It's been free. So they've given it away so many times. It's been on super sale. And apparently they have had their best year of sales just this year. I mean, that's what a success story. What a crazy story. But they came out on stage and they said, hey, you guys all know No Man's Sky. We're still working on it. We still have many exciting things to do. But surprise, we've been working on another game for the last 5 years.
Yeah, that's a real surprise. And they were pretty proud of themselves. I would say Geoff Keighley was pretty proud of himself to be able to announce that. You could see it because, they announced No Man's Sky, at the Game Awards. So now they've announced this next thing at the Game Awards. And this next thing is called Light No Fire. It's a survival crafting game set in like a fantasy Earth, I guess I'd say. But it's more like realistic, and it's kind of on a single planet, it looks like, as compared to No Man's Sky, which is like a space procedurally generated game.
Yeah, and they were really proud of like this is just going to be on one planet, but it's like a planet-sized planet. It's not like, I think he said, I don't know that I believe him, but he said, mountains are not going to be video game mountains. They're going to be mountains, where they're miles high. And then they played the trailer and I was like, okay, that mountain is not miles high, but it does look pretty cool.
It looks great. It looks very good. Yes.
It looked really good, but it was not miles high because they flew to the top of it in about 7 seconds. But from what I saw, it was No Man's Sky on one planet in a fantasy world instead of in a sci-fi world. That's what I would describe it as. And not to like not give it any credit, but it was really cool. It was obviously kind of like early kind of trailer footage, like teaser footage, not really gameplay. But it is I feel so bad saying this, but I'm gonna wait a year after it comes out. I'm not gonna do pre-purchase. I'm not gonna do early access. I'm not even gonna buy it when it comes out. I believe that this game will turn into a No Man's Sky type quality game when it comes out. But based on where I sit and what I've seen with No Man's Sky, I believe this company can pull it off. I'm going to wait a year after release to buy or even consider buying Light No Fire.
I think that's fair. I think given the track record, given their ambitions, I mean, they're just trying to do so much stuff that like you gotta give them a little bit of time to figure their stuff out. I'm looking forward to this one. It looks more interesting to me than No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky always kind of looked a little bit like generic sci-fi. I mean, this looks a little generic fantasy, but like, I don't know if it's well developed as a world, which I think it kind of sounded like based on their, descriptions of it in the trailer that they showed. I will give it a shot. Probably to your point, not day one, but give it a try.
Did they announce? They didn't announce a date or anything, right? Like nothing.
No, I don't think they announced any sort of like details. They just had, hey, we're working on this thing.
Hey, Chris, I think about 4 times throughout this show, we were like, oh, Sea of Thieves 2, Sea of Thieves 2, Sea of Thieves 2. And you're not going to get Sea of Thieves 2, but you are theoretically, maybe, eventually, probably now going to get Skull and Bones.
Yeah. So Skull and Bones is what, Ubisoft Sea of Thieves, I think.
Yeah, Ubisoft Thieves. Yeah. Yep.
Sea of Ubisoft. I don't know.
This game has had a history.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a long time because I like Sea of Thieves. You like to watch Sea of Thieves, and this game is like realistic Sea of Thieves, and so it looks really good. Like I think when we were watching it, you said boy, this game looks good in a trailer, which it really does.
Yeah, it does. And they did a really nice job of like the song and the trailer. And the reason that I say that this game has a history, because they announced a release date of February 16th, 2024. If I'm remembering correctly, this is the third time they've released a release date. And the last two times they released it and then said it was delayed indefinitely. So I'll believe it when I see it.
But surely this time it's for real.
Surely this time.
They announced February 16th as the date. So that's only, 10 weeks away from now or so. So I would imagine they wouldn't come out and say this if they weren't pretty sure it was going to happen.
I don't know. They've done it before. And then they pulled it back and redid it a little bit. This game has been in development since from what we hear, like the rumor mill, since Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Right. It's been like 8 or 10 or however many years that this game has been in development, because they introduced kind of the boat mechanics in that game in Assassin's Creed. And they're like, oh, man, wouldn't this be cool if it was a pirate game and like you could just play as a pirate? And then they were like, oh, yeah, Sea of Thieves does that. And then they were like, oh, of course, then we're going to do it, too. And again, it sounds like a really fun game. It sounds like really cool. But it has had a lot of issues, particularly from the playtest side. Right. People playing it and being like, this is dumb. And so they've reworked it a lot of times, from a gameplay loop and perspective. I'm really hoping. I am not going to pick this game up at full price. I don't know what full price is going to be, but I'm not going to pay full price for it. And it's probably not going to be on Game Pass because it's Ubisoft. But I'll keep an eye on it, particularly because it is a Sea of Thieves competitor, a 3-player co-op, piratey boat captaining game.
It checks all the boxes.
It does. It checks all the boxes.
Just hope it can be good.
The one thing that I found interesting is they did announce a beta, or at least signups for a beta of Skull and Bones during the Game Awards. I was reading through it. I'm going to sign up for the beta, and I encourage our friends that listen to this podcast to do so as well, because if any one of you gets into the beta, you can invite 2 friends to join you in the beta.
Oh, hey, we're 2 people.
So if any one of us gets in, that you can invite 2 people to make a full 3-player co-op squad. So I encourage everyone to sign up, even if you don't get in, whatever, maybe one of us will get in and, we'll invite some other people. So, if you play Sea of Thieves, highly recommend getting into the beta, because I think it's going to be your only chance to play this for free, to try it out. And that's really what I would kind of encourage to do before paying money for this. Is this our last game? Is this the last one we want to talk about?
This is the last one on our list, and I think it's appropriate based on its name.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah, that's all right. Hey, man, this you and I kind of had an argument about this game during the show, and I like where it landed. But they have pulled Geoff Keighley has pulled another Geoff Keighley, and during the Game Awards, they announced that the finals was out now, which was exciting because the finals had been in beta for a long time. A lot of people had been playing it, and it kind of gone through a couple rounds of playtest and alpha and beta and all of that. But as the Game Awards were happening, the finals was released.
Yeah, and it was like literally while they were happening, because you refresh the page on the thing and it said like now available, like 1.0, here we go, right as the trailer like flashed it up on the screen. You said, you're like, yep, it's live.
No, it's better than that. So they started playing the trailer and I was like, oh, that's the finals. That's cool. So I pulled it up on Steam and it said early access, not release date, not announced or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I wonder if they're going to release or announce a release date. And as the Game Awards stream had gotten to the point where they said out now, I refreshed the Steam page and I could download it. I mean, it was like to the second with the trailer on the Game Awards. So I was very impressed with that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. I don't know. This game, like, I watched somebody play it a little bit. It is not my kind of game. Like, I'm I'm glad that it's there, but I would not be good at it. I think that's really just the long and short of it.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be good at it. I don't think I'd be good at it. I mean, it's a competitive first person shooter, kind of extraction shooter. If you haven't seen it before, it's one of those where you collect an objective and then the objective is cash, and then you're trying to like extract the cash by protecting an objective while it gets, I don't know, sent up, absorbed, whatever you want to call it. But I love the world building. I just love what they've done with it. They've made it a game show, right? Like they're not trying to pretend that this is real life. They're not trying to say that like, you're stealing money from a real bank or, it's not any of that. They've made it such that like, it's like Rocket League, right? Where like there's a stadium around this arena. The arena is the map in which you're playing this game. And like people are watching you competitively, like do this event of first person shooting, extracting cash. And they've just done such a good job with that kind of world building. Like one of the things that really always impresses me is when you die in this game, you don't like spray out blood, right? It's not like Call of Duty or anything like that where you're like, oh man, I'm really killing people. When you die in this game, you burst into a bunch of coins. Which like it just fits like the world building so well. Like I love that. And I think they've done a really nice job with it. I'm going to try it. I think it's free. It's free to play. So I'm going to try it. I think it's worth kind of playing. I'm hoping that their, skill-based matchmaking, goes easy on me. And we'll see if we can get some other people involved. But, I always like a first person shooter every now and then. And this seems fun.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. Like I would give it a try potentially just to play it with people for an hour, but it's not my thing. But I'm happy for you, and I like the world. The world looks cool. Like I'm all for it. I would do a spectator mode or something, or I don't know, whatever. But I'll watch you play. But it's not my thing to play for myself.
Those are all of the games that we want to talk about.
Yep.
How many did we get here? Like, I don't know, 8 or 10, somewhere in there. Depends on how many you count for Fortnite, because Fortnite is just all of the things now. That's not even, we didn't even scratch the surface. There are so many other announcements that happened. Again, I encourage you to go watch and experience it for yourself, because your interests may slightly vary from ours. But man, what an event. Just so good. I did want to take the time to talk about maybe some of the meta things that happened during the event, like the stagecraft. Just real quick, like at the top, like, but what a beautiful kind of setup. Like I just thought it was it was like tastefully gamer. Would you agree with that? It was gamer. I mean, it was kind of in the way that like it reminded me a lot of either the Microsoft or the Bethesda E3 presentation. It might have even been in the same theater. I'm not sure. But like, yes, it had a very, it had the big LED wall. It had like a whole, kinetic stuff on the stage, and all that stuff. But it wasn't like gaudy. Like it wasn't like, yeah, gamers, whoa. And it was very, elegant for an award show, right? Yeah, I agree. It was clear. Like if someone looked at that, someone would be like, oh, that's kind of like technology, like LED forward kind of thing. But it wasn't like in your face. It was very well done. And I applaud whoever designed that stage as a very job well done. They also did a very nice job of like making sure that like people were coming on over here and going off over here, and then like the screen was going up and down to expose kind of more stage, and it was really good from a stagecraft perspective. It was a really good event, and I think I said to you a couple times throughout it, I was like, oh man, I hope I get to go to this someday. That would be really cool.
That would be really cool. I think you have to be a game like insider person, like make a game. So I guess P&A the game.
Or games media, like people that have a podcast that talk about games.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should start growing the audience a little bit.
Skillup was there.
Yeah, okay.
Skillup's in games media, right? Like he does a podcast and a YouTube channel. So you know what that means? That means you need to go share P&A podcast with all of your friends so that we can get big enough so that we can go to the Game Awards.
That's it. Call to action.
PNApodcast.com.
Well, if that ever happens, we'll be very excited, and we will certainly live stream it or something. I don't know.
Geoff Keighley did say, if you have been up to date on the Game Awards, you'll know that people sneaking on stage is a fun little activity for little twerps, particularly during the Game of the Year announcement. So he mentioned beforehand, and we saw it during the show, that security was definitely beefed up on who was allowed on stage this year.
Yeah, they had this really cool system, it seemed, or at least we were trying to figure it out until about halfway through. They had like stanchions, like little velvet ropes kind of in front of the stage, and they had a security guy standing at the end of each aisle, like a person, like a bouncer essentially standing there at the foot of the stage. And as people would, because it's an award show, so they announce that you win, and then it seemed like you would go up and claim it on behalf of your game or studio or whatever. And we noticed that there were exactly 2 people that went up for every award except for the Game of the Year, where they got 4 people. But it was it seemed to be very closely choreographed that they had only 2 people in each award winning speech.
The other thing we noticed, and again, we don't know, we're just kind of speculating here, is every person that came from the audience and went on stage, had to go past that bouncer, was wearing a specific pin. So, it was the game. We think it was the Game Awards pin, kind of on their lapel, and it was almost perfectly clear that the bouncer at the front was checking to see whether that, each person had their pin on. I would assume they gave a pin to every person that was nominated or every person that was kind of cleared to go on stage. And that was, that was how they did it. I think it's dumb that these people are trying to sneak up there and kind of steal the limelight. It steals the limelight from something that deserves to be the center of attention. Baldur's Gate won Game of the Year. It deserves to kind of have that attention and not be tarnished by anything. Kind of like someone sneaking on stage and stealing that spotlight for even a couple of seconds. So I'm happy they did this year. It was not too much of a distraction, I would say. I did notice the people up front and the velvet rope and the bouncers at the front. I did notice them, but it wasn't a distraction from the show. So I would hope to see, maybe they don't need to keep this level of security, but I wouldn't mind if it stayed there. The other thing that was a very clear improvement over last year was them, I think, being very clear on the length of speech that you were allowed.
Yeah, this is always a challenge with award shows, right? They do it for the Oscars and everything. You might have visions of them, some guy with a giant shepherd's cane, right, that pulls you off from cartoons. But, the way they do it in real life is that they start to play music. And the music is some very generic kind of little orchestral thing that gets louder and louder and louder as you talk over it, to really encourage you to get off the stage and stop talking. And they use that to great effect today, or this time in the Game Awards, I would say. And to a couple of really funny moments that I really enjoyed.
Well, okay, so the thing it was really short. I think 60 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. I wasn't actually timing it, but the amount of time they had to talk on stage was super short, and they kicked in that music really early. But what ended up happening to half of the people that were talking too long, quote. I didn't think they were too long. I thought they were, I would have given them maybe even another minute, but it didn't. What ended up happening is they would thank a bunch of people at the start of their speech, and then a lot of them or some of them would kind of have this emotional kind of touch at the end where I think Neil Newburn was a great example of this, where he got up there to accept his best performance award, and he started to thank a bunch of people, and then he got into this speech about being represented and, thank you. This award means a lot to not just me, but everyone that's kind of different and feels different and being acknowledged and being represented. And that part of his speech started or happened while this emotional kind of playoff music was happening, and it didn't feel like playoff music. It didn't feel like, oh, you got to get off the stage. It felt like the score, the orchestra score of a very emotional speech. So it really worked. It just really worked, and I was really probably more into it than I think was intended. But it happened a couple times. Like, every time kind of someone went a little long, they would always go long with this kind of emotional part of their speech. The part that really kind of started to be a little bit more personal than just thanking everyone. And this music behind them would play and make it that much more impactful.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny, though, the juxtaposition between this, like, nice orchestral, like, soft, inspiring music or whatever that was encouraging you to get off the stage. And then, at least on the video cast, I don't know if this was in the room or not, but at least, when we were watching from home, they would switch from the, nice orchestral music to this, like, techno, like, gamer bumping, like, yeah, games, here we go kind of music that really didn't fit with the kind of moment that they had just accidentally created that Jason was just ranting and raving about. So then they would just move on to this other, like, you're just your generic, like, kind of techno gamer music in between awards and things. And I just thought that was so funny, the way that they sometimes they got it wrong, and, like, one person of the duo would talk and they would, like, both kind of walk away, but then the person who just talked would, like, motion to their counterpart and say, like, hey, you want to say something? But by that point the gamer music had already started, so they couldn't stop the gamer music, and so then this person is still having to talk on top of not nice music but gamer music. So I don't know, I thought that was just a little bit of, there's some room for some polish there, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's a great way of saying it. The transition between the emotional orchestral background music and the gamer music could have been better.
Speaking of music, the last thing I wanted to say, kind of in the meta conversation, is that they did do a orchestral montage of the Game of the Year winners. Jason mentioned this, and it was very good.
It was so good.
Maybe that's all we have to say about it, but it was really good.
Yeah, I as it was playing, I was just like, oh man, I wish this was on. I wish they would put, like, this on Spotify. Like, I wish they would actually record this as a, a thing that I could add to a playlist somewhere. And you can go in the show notes will be the link to the YouTube video that is, this kind of montage of the games that were nominated, and the themes of each played by the orchestra in the background. The flute guy stole the show again, which okay, whatever. I wish he wouldn't steal the show of the nominees for Game of the Year, but he was fun. He was slightly distracting in my opinion, but that's okay.
Yeah, it was gimmicky. He had like 7 flutes, and I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, no, and it's happened. It's kind of a thing now. It's that joke. But I think it's funny. I think they can do it for a quick second. Kind of, they did it once in between, like when they switched from one game to another, and he was kind of going at it, and they focused on him. I thought that was tasteful, but then they probably focused on him a little bit too much. But ignoring him, just kind of closing your eyes and listening. The medley, right? Medley, is that right?
Medley, yep.
Was very good. It was really well done. I love when they do things like that. And I always just love an orchestral arrangement of stuff.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just like watching a little bit of that orchestral montage thing, and it was really good. And they put like clips from the games behind it on this big old screen behind the orchestra. So that was really cool. So you're like, oh yeah, I remember playing that if you've played the games. Or it kind of gave you a good like vibe. Although I will say that all of the Baldur's Gate scenes that they chose for the montage were like the romance scenes from Baldur's Gate, which for a game that won Game of the Year and whatever best story, right, or best RPG and all of this, I don't know if that would be the thing that like you should highlight is the romance aspect, but whatever, I guess.
It's probably the least spoilery of the spoilers that they could show.
That's kind of what I thought too. I was like, well, it doesn't really reveal anything, and everybody kind of already knows it, so I guess I'll give it to him. That's
it. That's the Game Awards. We talked for like an hour and 45 minutes, which is like half the length of the actual show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess you could just go watch the show at 2 times speed, and you'll get the other half. Yeah, it was a great event. I'm really happy. Chris, I really liked that we kind of put time aside and watched it live together. That was a lot of fun. And maybe if we get bigger or whatever, we could start to, I don't know, make something out of this every year and have a watch party maybe or something like that. I would love to do that. This is a great event. This is a great event to watch with your friends who you play games with. So I can't wait for next year's.
And where do you think we might do some kind of a watch party if we were going to do that?
Oh, what a question. What a good transition. That was so well done. I love that. I did not even see that coming. You could potentially join a watch party or just talk to us about the Game Awards, or, let us know what you think or what we missed. Again, we selected a small portion, but you know where to go. Come on. You already know this. You can join us and join the conversation, join our community by going to discord.pnapodcast.com.
If you want to find our show notes with stuff we spoke about today, there's a lot of stuff. We've got trailers and videos from a lot of the things we talked about. You can visit our website at pnapodcast.com. That's P, the letter N, the letter A, podcast.com.
Isn't that crazy? We have both a Discord and a website. That's just, chef's kiss.
Is that even allowed?
I don't know, Chris. If you're enjoying the show, we would love if you could share it with some others that may enjoy it as well, because we want to grow this thing, because I want to go to the Game Awards.
Yes. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
Chris, I missed one thing in the Game Award. I know they said they weren't going to do it, but man, I missed it. I really did.
World premiere.
Come on. Even if they didn't say world premiere, I did want them to tagline it. Like, Geoff Keighley's so proud of world premiere. Like, he said ahead of time, we're not going to do that. We're not going to put the world premiere tag on kind of the trailers. But I think it lacked something because of it.
I understand where he's coming from with this. He did say it in interviews a week or two before the event. He said they didn't want to kind of delineate world premieres from other stuff. And it could have also been just because, in the past, I feel like almost everything has been a world premiere, to the point where it almost got annoying when it would say world premiere. It was kind of like the Xbox E3 presentations where they used to do that. And it was just like every single thing started with world premiere, and it was just a little much. But I think he also wanted to really highlight that all of these games are giving great content, and whether this is the first time that they're showing it to the world, or if it's, it came out 2 months ago, but nobody saw it and we're showing it again at the Game Awards, or we're showing a little more at the Game Awards. So it's not a world premiere of this game, but it's maybe, new information or something like that. I think he wanted to not call attention to it. So maybe that cheapens the value of the Game Awards, but I don't think it did. I think it was fine. I guess I like the idea of tell me when I'm seeing something special, but they still did that in the show. They still said, we've got a world premiere for you. Here it is. They didn't do the title card, but they said it in the dialogue.
Yeah, I get it. I don't think it cheapened the Game Awards by any stretch. I get why they didn't do it. I do want to know, though, if this is the first time we're hearing about a game ever, or not. I think that's the piece of, and I know he said it most of the time. He would say it before or after, and say that this was or is a world premiere, but maybe not a title card. Maybe I'm just looking for that little bit of information where in the bottom right hand corner it's #world premiere or something, just to indicate this is the first time we're ever announcing this game. I wanted that tag of information. I felt like that was missing. I like the world premiere tag with the deep guy voice, and but that's cool to me, but I get why they didn't do that. I felt like the information about something being a world premiere was missing from the trailers themselves.
Yeah, I could see that. I think almost like an information bar across the bottom. I mean, come on, it's video games, right? They could put a HUD on this stuff. I think a little HUD with, if it's a world premiere would be good to know. And then maybe the platforms that it's coming to would also be nice to know. Because, and maybe even a release date. Maybe you would show it strategically at a certain point in the trailer or something. But they could put kind of an info card almost alongside the video that is the thing. Kind of like they do with movie trailers on TV. I don't know if you've noticed this, but
yep.
When you see movie trailers on TV, they put the title of the movie outside of the letterbox of the thing, because when you fast forward on your DVR, you see the title of the movie. So like it, and just in general, you see the title of the movie more when you're watching it live. So like they could do something like that, because they always flash the little card on the end of the title, end of the trailer, where it shows
it's so
like,
fast.
It's on Steam, it's on Epic, it's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation, it's on Switch, it's on Game Pass, it's on whatever, and you're like, and it's on NVIDIA GeForce Now. Like I want to know that stuff, and maybe I don't want to have to go back and pause and freeze frame and look and see and all that. So like I do think maybe they could do that as a standardized thing in the event.
I would agree. I think that's a great idea. I like that.
Maybe if we tell Geoff Keighley that, he'll invite us to the Game Awards.
He'll invite us. Yeah. Okay, now we have multiple avenues now. One of them's got to work.
Here we go.